Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of SportsPoint, brought to you by Pointer Studios. I am your host, Jacob Spoerl. Joined here to my right is Cole Schneider, along with my baby, Carlos. How you doing, Carlos?
He's not doing too good right now.
He's drinking intensely right now. And we also got production manager Liam Sheen in the house. Thank you all for joining us. And oh my goodness, what a wild week of sports we've had. The Packers are officially back playing. The Milwaukee Brewers have beat the Chicago Cubs to make the NLCS, the championship series. They're in the Final Four once again. It's been a long time.
2018.
They're
playing the Dodgers.
They're playing the Dodgers once more. Oh my goodness. Cole, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good? You just look like you've been laughing a lot.
Oh, yeah. I think we were all laughing a lot, let's be honest.
Very, very chaotic start. But this is going to be more productive. We're going to get right into it, starting off with the Crowning Champion segment. My crowning champion for this week is Lucas Haversick. He was the kicker for the Green Bay Packers this weekend against the Cincinnati Bengals, where he was called up not even just about 24 hours before the game started. And he went and played great. He was 2 for 2 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points in yesterday's game against the Bengals. So, yes, he scored a total of 9 points. That is phenomenal. Really happy for him. I mean, did you hear that? I don't know if you heard this. He was a substitute teacher. Like, he was planning on continuing his substitute teacher career. And
that's
he went and kicked
awesome.
in an NFL game. So, yeah, that is my crowning champion for this week. Cole, who's your crowning champion?
So, unfortunately, I fell asleep after the first quarter of the Packer game. But
What? Sorry.
It's all right.
No,
it was a good nap. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
it was
you
a very
deserved
good nap.
it. You had rugby the day before, man.
I know. Josh Jacobs is my crowning champion. 18 attempts, 93 yards, 5-yard average, 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 57 yards, too. That's big. Currently second in the league in rushing touchdowns with 6.
That is, and it's crazy because he obviously
it's been a down year for him.
Well, I wouldn't say a down year. The rushing game overall has been down, which involves all aspects of the offense overall, play calling, offensive line, and yes, Josh Jacobs. But yeah, I mean, there was a majority of the game yesterday where he was actually the leading receiver on our team, and the fact that you said he was tied for first in rushing touchdowns. He's second, and he missed a week. They had their bye last week. I feel like it's been a long time since we've actually covered the Packers, but we're not going to talk about the game. That was the Crowning Champion segment, and that'll move us on to the 3-Point Try Campus Roundup, brought to you by Point Brewery. And once again, we got Point Premium Root Beer made with 100% real sugar. Sorry for bumping the mic. Point Premium Root Beer is crafted in small batches with the purest water, genuine Wisconsin honey, and all-natural vanilla. This gold medal-winning recipe is refreshingly delicious, rich, creamy, and caffeine-free, giving it a time-honored traditional draft root beer taste. Oh my gosh, I was like at the same time. Beautiful. I got to get that awkward pause in. All right. Now let's discuss my school sport for this week. It is once again UWSP women's volleyball. This past weekend, on October 11th specifically on a Saturday, the Pointers went over to UW Whitewater in the UW Whitewater tournament. However, they didn't play any conference teams, including Whitewater. They played Hardin-Simmons University, where they won 3 in 3 sets. It was 3-2 was the final. And then following that, not long after that, they played Lawrence University. They've played them in previous years, and they won in 4 sets. They won 3-1 over Lawrence, so that improves their rankings now throughout the conference. And now that means they have won 4 straight matches. The 2 before that was the previous weekend, which we'd covered against Millikan University and Gustavus Adolphus. Those were both at home. We also covered those games on broadcast for Pointer Studios and for 90 FM for UWSP Athletics. But this weekend, also having those back-to-back wins, they have now won 4 straight, and the Pointers are heating up at the absolute best time. So congrats to them. Continuing to lead the team in kills is Lauren Shaw with 167. Carly Tomka's not too far behind, though, with 156. And still, Logan Cregan, the freshman, who is third in team kills with 142. She's improving as well through her freshman campaign. Overall, now the Pointers advanced to 13-8, 2-1 still in the conference, and that's all I've got for my school sport. Cole, what do you have?
So I got point football. I wasn't at the game. I had my rugby game, but ran into Brett after and lost 45-14, so not very good. But they fall to 3-2 after 3-0 start, and you said before the show, many missed penalties by Whitewater. Whitewater had a bunch of holding penalties from what you saw while you were calling the game.
Yes.
And some drop passes, which weren't ideal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, look, the Pointers, I still believe this is the best Pointer team for football that I've experienced in my 4 years of attending this university. And to be fully transparent, obviously it wasn't a phenomenal game. Obviously you're losing 45-14. But considering the fact, the final score should have probably been 38-14, but both teams had their backups in, and they just scored a 20-something yard rushing touchdown at the very end of the game just to bump up the score sheet. I think Whitewater's always been a very good program, and obviously during the 2010s they were basically Alabama of D3 college athletics for football. But I still, to be fully honest, this Whitewater team does not seem as potent as the rankings show. And speaking of the rankings, I actually have it here on my phone. I'll pull it up really quick.
I even have it on the script right here, Jacob. Scroll down a little bit.
Did you put it on? Did you put it
Yeah.
on there? You did. Thank you for finding it right before the show. I don't even need that. It's okay, I promise. UW Whitewater is now 9th ranking, so they're top 10 again, but they're just not. They're a good team. They played efficient.
They're not as good as what they once used to be.
They had more penalties than the Pointers did, and they also had less sacks than the Pointers did. So this pass rush for the Pointers is extremely impressive, especially because Whitewater usually has big men recruits. Like they got some big dudes up front. Both their tackles are 6'5". For
boy.
D3 college football. Like these are.
I would hate to be a defensive end for the Pointers.
I know, but the fact you can still successfully get 4 sacks is pretty impressive. Yeah, I mean, it was just obviously there were some moments early on. The wide open drop pass, I believe it was on the second offensive series, and then the kick return that was fumbled. That was rough from the start. But the Pointers next week are back at home. We're going to be calling that game. So hop on the UWSP Athletics page. We'll be calling that. Also 90 FM with Brett McNamara. We'll be calling that game on that one on there too. It's going to be this Saturday, I believe the 18th. Let me pull it up.
River Falls?
They play River Falls.
Homecoming game, right?
Yep, it's going to be homecoming. Yeah, it is Saturday, October 18th.
It's going to be a little bit rough because River Falls is currently ranked 12th in the country right now.
So that brings me to my next point. 6 of our 8 teams in the WIAC are ranked top 20th in the nation. So for reference, I mean, I'm sure you can do the easy math. Over 25% of the top 20 ranked teams are in Wisconsin through the WIAC. Are you kidding me? So for reference, number 4 is UW La Crosse, which they absolutely should be. They're the only undefeated team left in the conference. They have played one less game than everybody else, but still undefeated. Number 9 is Whitewater, who just beat the Pointers this past weekend. But the week prior, they lost in double overtime to La Crosse, so that's why they're lower ranked. Then at 12th, as you had just stated, River Falls, who the Pointers are playing this weekend, another very good program. And in my opinion, out of calling every broadcast that the Pointers played in terms of football, my opinion, River Falls was the best team, but they weren't ranked that way, and they lost the crucial games that they needed to advance in the conference. Platteville now falls from 6, I believe, last week now to 13th. Still a good team, but they got upset by River Falls. Oshkosh, UW Oshkosh is at 18, and they were whooping. They were up 16-0, I believe, over UW Stout. But then Stout scored 27 unanswered points to win. So now Stout is in the conversation. They're 20th ranked. So, I mean, it's just such a dominant conference.
We are the SEC of Division III football,
Absolutely.
as Liam Stats said multiple times last year on his Stats with the Stats show.
Yes. Yeah. And even though the Pointers just lost, you got to look at it. They went 3-0 against non-conference opponents. They won in overtime against Albion. That game probably was closer than it should have been because the Pointers were dominating in the first half, and they just kind of let it slip in the second. They whooped St. Norbert. I believe it was 31-17, and that last St. Norbert touchdown was pretty late trying to come back. And then they whooped Pacific University. They had to fly to Oregon in that game. So, I believe if the Pointers were in a different conference, it'd be a different story, but we happen to play a very challenging conference in D3 athletics. But that is all we've got for the 3-point try campus roundup. We got to get to some celebration. Pop the champagne or some point root beer. The Brewers advance.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Did you watch the game?
Yes, I did. I went
yeah.
out with my friends, watched the game, and it was awesome to see that. I came home. One of my roommates is a Cubs fan. I'm like, I can't believe the Brewers lost. And I said, no, they didn't. He was so excited. Then I took away all his hope.
Get him out of here. How was he sad? Was he like crying?
He's not like a huge baseball fan, but he supports the Cubbies. So yeah,
Is he more so of a different type of Chicago sports fan?
he's just a Cubs fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sucks for him, not for us. Once again, the Wisconsin teams continue to beat the Illinois teams. I just feel like we're superior right now in every sport, and I feel like it's been like that as I've grown up. Obviously, the Cubs winning the World Series in 2016 was the only time where I feel like
That was
Chicago
an
sports.
otherworldly Chicago Cubs team, though. They had Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo.
Yes, it was a great team. It was a great squad. That's why they won it all. But like since then, the Brewers have pretty much dominated the Cubs. They beat the Cubs in 2018 to win the division. And then obviously this season, the Cubs were beating the Brewers, or at least had a better record. And then around that shift in late July, early August, the Brewers had that sensational run. Of course, I have to burp because of the root beer, excuse me. We're good. And then, they played some tough matchups. Brewers ended up taking the division. They faced each other in the NLDS, and the Brewers showed their dominance. A great series. Obviously, let's do a quick recap of Game 5 from Saturday. Anyone wondering? The game started off early. A quick run for the Brewers. I said Churio on here. That's not right. Contreras hit a solo home run in the first, but then right away in the second, Seiya Suzuki for the Cubs responded right away, hitting a solo home run in the second, as I just said. Then, eventually, several innings later, King Vaughn snatches a clutch solo homer in the fourth, retaking the lead, and then eventually two-out Terang in the seventh hit another solo home run, and he's been having a rough postseason so far, so that was phenomenal. And fun fact, that was his first ever home run in the postseason.
That was King Vaughn or Bryce Terang?
Terang. Well, obviously.
Okay.
So
You didn't say Terang there, so I was confused.
I didn't say Terang?
You did not.
I said two-out Terang.
Okay.
So I kind
mind.
of slipped it in. Yes, Bryce Terang hit his first ever home run in the postseason. And yes, of course, same with Vaughn because he's never been. And then, McGill pitched in the first inning and quickly pulled him for Mizorowski, which I wasn't super on board with because right away Mizorowski's the one that gave up that solo home run. But then he played through the fifth. Aaron Ashby then pitched in the sixth temporarily, but he was playing pretty rough, so we pulled him. We then put in rookie Chad Patrick, much to many fans' chagrin, but he played very well in the sixth, finished out the seventh, and then Abner Uribe closed out in the eighth and the ninth, giving the Brewers the victory. And it was a thrilling game. Obviously, it was all home runs. We couldn't. Oh my gosh! Like it was stressful. It was very much a stressful game. But beating the Cubs was the most satisfying feeling ever because I've worked with Cubs fans this whole summer. And this is just a side note. I think it's very funny how like the narrative has switched. Like the moment the Cubs lose, they know they have the lower hand in this rivalry. See, they go, good game to the Brewers. This fan base didn't deserve it. They were so classless. Like, people were complaining about Uribe doing the hang up.
I thought that was hilarious. That's
not disrespectful.
That's one of the all-time great taunts.
You just closed out the game that takes your team to the NLCS, and that's disrespectful for celebrating. Now, you could argue like maybe flying the L flag in the postseason, in the post-game photos, like that might have been. I don't know. I think it's all the stretch. Cubs fans have literally been talking crap forever because the Brewers don't have a World Series, and that was their first ever postseason meeting as well. So it's like
the Brewers and Cubs first ever postseason?
Yes,
that's crazy.
Ever. So I mean, I'm just kind of ignoring those comments, and we move on. Obviously, we're filming this pretty early compared to when you guys will be seeing this. We're filming this on Monday the 13th. So in just about an hour and a half here, our time, the Brewers are playing Game 1 of the championship series against the LA Dodgers. Obviously brings back some PTSD because that is the team that we lost to in our last championship series back in 2018, that historic season, one I remember very fondly. But
is Shohei pitching or is he DHing? I'm assuming he's probably going to DH.
I don't think he's pitching right away. I haven't seen the starting pitcher for the Dodgers tonight. But our starting pitcher, did you see this?
No.
It's Ashby. So we're starting Aaron Ashby once more. We'll see how that goes. You know, obviously he had a rough series against the Cubs, but Murphy's probably hoping.
Well, he
for him
obviously you trust him if he's going to start him again, so that's good to see.
I was kind of curious for the postseason or at least for the series roster. We did not have Mears for pitchers, but we had Gasser. So hopefully that's the right decision. I don't know why Mears isn't in this series. Some people are considering the fact that maybe there's an undisclosed injury that we just don't know about. That's really the only realistic reason I could fathom of why he's not in, because he's been a really important reliever for us. But Ashby starts game 1 of this series. I imagine Peralta will start game 2. Also, I believe, this is going to be old news pretty fast, but in the starting lineup tonight in the outfield, we got rookie Isaac Collins, so I'm glad he's playing. It's going to be a tough series. Obviously, it's 7 games going through Milwaukee. Once again, feeling familiar to that 2018 series, but I'm excited nonetheless. And even if we do lose, like I said, I don't know. I don't remember actually my prediction for the World Series. I said there's a chance that
you think the Brewers make it, but you don't know if they win it, I believe, is what you said.
Something like that. This is my take now after watching a little bit more, especially the Cubs series. If the Brewers manage to beat the Dodgers, they do win it all. Because it's just like, once you have that kind of momentum and you get over that type of hump, I just feel like there's really not much that can stop you. It's kind of like
they also have someone to play for too, Bob Uecker.
Yeah, it's kind of like when the Bucks beat the Nets in their series to the finals. I was like, if they beat that team, if they beat Brooklyn, came back and beat them, which they did, they were going to do it. Same with, I wasn't really paying attention to the sport at the time, but like when the Packers, when they beat the Bears to go to the playoffs, and then like when they beat Atlanta, who was I think the number 1 ranked team that year in the divisional, and they whooped them like they did. I remember that. Yeah, they definitely had the potential to go to the Super Bowl and win it, which they did. So this is going to be a crazy series. Obviously, we're going to be about halfway through it by the time this episode comes out. A series that's going to be closer to being finished, though, is on the other side of the poll in the American League Championship Series. It's the Seattle Mariners versus the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, I believe, won 4 games, and the Yankees won 1 in their 5-game set. So I believe that's what it was. Yeah, so they pretty much put BTA to the Yanks. But the Mariners, it was a back-and-forth series I think it was 3-1 because it's a 5-game series. Yeah. So I think Toronto won 3-1. But the Detroit Tigers, did I say the wrong team again? The Blue Jays beat the Yankees. The Mariners and the Tigers were tied 2 games to 2 games. It all went down to Game 5. I watched this game last Friday night. Oh, my goodness. It went to 15 innings.
15?
It went to 15.
That's unheard of sometimes.
It was the longest in postseason history for the Tigers, not for the Kraken. For the Mariners, because a couple years ago they went to, I believe, 20?
I think I remember hearing about that. I don't remember the exact
innings.
number, but
I don't know
insane.
what it was, but it was a walk-off RBI to win it for Seattle. And Cal Raleigh last night in Game 1 of the ALCS against the Blue Jays hit a home run that helped them win. So if we get, in my opinion, best case scenario is Mariners Brewers World Series, because both teams have never won it. Obviously, I'm going to pull for the Brewers, but no Blue Jays because Canada, and no Dodgers because I hate the Dodgers. So that's really all I've got for the MLB update. October baseball is in full swing. Do you have anything else? Any kind
of
predictions?
Brewers, yeah? Screw the Dodgers.
Screw the Dodgers, amen. That'll take us right on to the NFL update. We're going to start off with the Green Bay Packers. I need to swing after this one. All right, so do you remember how I described to you this game since you slept through it yesterday?
It was a game.
I said this was the most game of all time. What? Let me get into what I mean. So obviously I have to pull up the final score. I don't even remember it.
27-18.
There you go. Yes, yeah, there you go. It is. The Green Bay Packers beat the Cincinnati Bengals this past Sunday. They won 27-18, and we didn't even cover it on the show because it had happened after we had filmed. But the Bengals traded for Joe Flacco.
Oh my God.
Inter-division trade. And, that kind of made some Packer fans like, oh, my gosh, we're going to lose to Joe Flacco again. And I think it's funny how the narrative was like, Joe Flacco beat the Packers. Like, yeah, on the stat sheet, he did. But, like, the
The stats
Browns'
that the
defense
Browns-
beat the Packers. We played horribly against that defense. Joe Flacco, like, did nothing that whole game. He threw a bad interception in the first half. And honestly, even though they lost to the Packers, I think he played a little bit better in the second game. He made less mistakes. He had some nice throws. That first touchdown on 4th and goal, he just put it in the only spot where that tight end could catch it, in the back of the end zone.
It's insane to me that Joe Flacco's even still in the league. Because, I mean, like, after he left the Ravens, I'm like, he's got to retire, right?
He is the only quarterback in the Super Bowl era where it was a guy that's 40 years or older that was traded for. The last time that happened was, I believe, in the 1950s. So it's kind of crazy that.
Wow.
I mean, that's how desperate the Bengals are, and it's not like Joe Flacco was terrible. It's so weird. He's had such a weird career path because obviously he was good for the Ravens in their Super Bowl, and then he got even a little better after that, but they never went back, and then eventually they gave up on him for Lamar. He went to the Broncos, wasn't good in Denver, wasn't good on the Jets. His career was over. Then the Browns ran out of quarterbacks in 2023, called him up from the couch, and he was pretty good. Took him to the playoffs and then got whooped. Seemed like Joe Flacco's career was over, but because of that Browns campaign, he then got picked up by the Colts the following season. Richardson got hurt. This was last year. Flacco came in, and he sucked again. So I was like, all right, Flacco's career is back to being over. But then this year, the Browns once again called him back. We need you. We drafted 2 rookies, Dylan Gabriel and, of course, Shedeur Sanders. And Flacco threw 2 touchdowns. And
Is Dylan Gabriel the starting quarterback now for the Browns?
he is. And he's not bad. I mean, they got whooped by the Steelers, but the Browns just aren't good. They have 1 loss, though. Or, sorry, 1 win. I wonder who that was against. But anyways, we're talking about the Packers, not Joe Flacco. We only had 1 sack this game, and it was by way of Lucas Van Ness, who got hurt. He got carted off the field, actually.
Ooh.
They didn't even talk about it on the broadcast. But it seems like he'll be okay. As of today's press conference, Matt LaFleur confirmed that the injury isn't super severe. We'll see if he's back next week. I somewhat doubt it, but it doesn't seem too problematic. But yeah, he was the only guy that got us a sack yesterday against that abhorrent Bengals offensive line. And I think
that can't happen, especially with our front 7.
Yeah, so I think the questions are starting to be asked now. Why is the pass rush struggling? Obviously, you'll hear a lot of fans say, oh, we paid Micah Parsons for this much money, and he's had 2.5 sacks. And my defense against that is Micah is an all-world player, but he went like 4 months of not playing football, holding out for a contract, and then 10 days before the season started, he got traded to a brand-new team with brand-new staff, with brand-new players he's never even communicated with. So he was kind of put into a rough situation, and he wasn't in game shape right away. So it's cool the impact that he had for those first couple of games. I think we're back down to reality a little bit. And he's still playing very well. He's still up there leading the league or towards the top of the leaderboard for quarterback pressure rate. And he is getting chipped every play. Bro is getting hold like once a drive. It's like there's a really bad hold. And it's never really called, and that's part of the game. I'm sorry. When the defender's holding his hands up like this and like that, like literally arm around the neck, you're not going to call that. But that's not why you lose. And we have other pass rushers. Like Van Ness played that whole first half pretty much. We still have Rashawn Gary. I think part of it, I'm not going to lie, that I feel like isn't being discussed, is our defensive tackles. Specifically, we're missing Devontae Wyatt.
That is a big blow.
He didn't play in this game.
Carl Brooks isn't playing very well either.
And the Bengals rush game, it wasn't great, but it was a lot better than it's been because they could gash up the middle and then do quick outs. It would get the pass rush out of whack. So I think it's kind of a whole issue systematically. And our DBs didn't play great yesterday either. I would say, I'm pretty adamant in this. Keyshawn Nixon's our best corner by far right now. I think he had 2 pass breakups. He holds a little bit, but bro is going against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins every snap. I'll give him a little leeway. It's the best wide receiver 1-2 punch in the National Football League. It was an odd game also for the offense because I think they started off pretty rough on that first drive. Jordan Love was using a lot of his legs, he was running a lot more. And then just kind of threw an errant pass. It was
I remember that one.
Kind of to Romeo Doubs, a little bit behind him. I accidentally tipped it backwards, and it happened to be an interception. Was it a little bit of a weird interception? Yeah, like those don't always happen, of course. It ended up being a turnover. It still wasn't a great decision by Love. And he also had a throw later that was just way high over a wide open Luke Musgrave, and I don't know what was going on there. He said in the postgame that was just a bad throw by him. But he also, every other throw I think he had was like, there were some beautiful passes. Got Matthew Golden involved. He was the leading receiver on the day. He was throwing dimes to him. He had a really nice throw early on to Romeo Dobbs. I don't know. I just feel like there was a couple bad throws. Love looked a little inconsistent yesterday. But again, it's not at all like Love is washed. Love should have been paid this much money.
This is the most consistent passing-wise Jordan Love has been in his career, I believe.
This season, yeah. He's had a great season. Obviously, that one interception against the Browns, everyone's going to talk about it, but it was like it's one play from the first several games where it was bad. And the pick yesterday was like, it wasn't the best time to throw it. I think I'm more upset at the decision rather than the throw itself or the turnover itself. But, I mean, it's not like he lost us the game. He got us in scoring position when we needed it. Haversick obviously played a great game. Josh Jacobs, too. That offensive line, though, settled in. I think now.
And everybody's finally back healthy, too.
Yes. Forgot to mention that. Zach Tom, Aaron Banks, back healthy. Rasheed Walker was also a little bit questionable for this game. He played as well. It took Zach Tom a couple reps to settle in. Rasheed Walker was really struggling against Trey Hendrickson, who actually was taken out.
Trey Hendrickson was taken out?
Yeah, after the first half. So that definitely, it's a reason why our offense looked better in the second half. But Josh Jacobs finally, you mentioned it earlier, getting unleashed. He's still a phenomenal running back, and I think the running game will improve over the season, kind of like it did last year. The one thing I will say for a pass rush that I didn't mention, I just have a quick couple of stats. In terms of the Packers' pass rush compared to other offenses that had a higher or same time to throw as the Bengals did. So the Broncos, for example, in a similar time to throw as Joe Flacco, their defense had a 55.2 pressure rate. The Steelers had a 41.4 pressure rate. And even the New England Patriots had a 46.7 pressure rate. But the Packers, 22.6. So it seems like right now, and Micah talked about this in his postgame, I believe Halfley talked about it today, the defense needs to adjust and learn how to get out of these chips and how to figure out like why we can't get to the quarterback as quick on quick passes like these other defenses do, because I think right now the best pass rushing defense in the NFL is the Broncos, so it makes sense why their pressure rate against quick throws is the highest. But outside of that, as mixed feelings as I had on that game, it's a win neithertheless. The Packers are back in the win column at 3-1-1, and not only that, they're back at the top of the division. The Detroit Lions lost last night, so now they're 4-2. Vikings had a bye, and the Bears are playing tonight against the Commies. And even if the Bears do win, the Packers are still on top of the division no matter what. So that is pretty nice. Outside of that, we got some around the NFL updates. You want to just read these quick couple I wrote down?
Yeah, Brian Callahan fired from Tennessee after a season and 5 games.
Yeah, season and a quarter.
You said it before the show, kind of before the show, I think we were recording, but they should have never fired Mike Vrabel. Sure, they had a couple of down years, but I mean, he led you to the AFC Championship with Derrick Henry. He made
Ryan Tannehill.
With Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback, he made you a playoff contending team, and then you fire him, and now you haven't made it back to the playoffs since. When you know you have a good coach, you need to stick with him. Like with John Harbaugh with the Ravens, they didn't make the playoffs for a couple years there, but they stuck with him, and they're doing good now. Well, not good now, but
I think the biggest issue with Tennessee wasn't Brian Callahan; it's the front office, and there's clear evidence to that. They've hit on a couple picks. I think the Cam Ward draft pick this year was a no-doubter, like it was obvious, but still a good pick. Jeffrey Simmons, I believe that was 2019 or whatever that was. He's still one of the top defensive tackles in the league, in my opinion. However,
he's just overshadowed because he's on a bad team.
Right. The Titans, however, have missed on several other picks, including the trade for A.J. Brown to get Traylon Burks, who's not even on the team anymore. And I still think that'll go down as not only is still one of the worst trades in this decade and in modern NFL history, but also one of the defining moment that killed the Tennessee Titans. And that reportedly created a rift between Mike Vrabel and the coaching staff, the management, because he did not want to get rid of A.J. Brown because, why would you? He just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles last season. And following that, they fire Vrabel, who I think was the scapegoat. Look how much worse they've been without. Oh my gosh, worst time.
And he's doing good with the Patriots now.
Exactly. He's doing good with the Patriots. Don't get me wrong, the Patriots are a solid team, but I don't think the roster is phenomenal. And then for them to be 4-2 right now with Vrabel in his first season back as a head coach, bruh, clearly the Titans are in the wrong. Do you want to read that next one?
And then Zadarius Smith, former Packer, former Pro Bowler for the Packers, retires after, I want to say he played for 13 seasons in the league, 14 seasons?
Yeah, around that. 2014 is when he got drafted by the Ravens. I think it's funny. He got picked up out of free agency by the Philadelphia Eagles before Week 2. And right away in that first game that he played in Week 2, he got a sack. So he hasn't been bad this season. But I think these last 2 games the Eagles have had, especially after getting upset by the Giants, I think he was like, I saw Cam Scatterboot play. I'm not ready for that. And he left. That's my theory of why he retired. I mean, look.
I don't know. Zadarius Smith, he also had injury bugs, and it's been a roller coaster for him the past few years, bumping around teams year after year. How many teams has he been on now? Like, he was with the Ravens and the Packers.
I'll give you the full count. Drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Yep.
Then got in free agency, was shifted to the Packers, and I loved him on the Packers.
He did great for us. Two-time Pro Bowler?
Yes.
I think he was a
remember.
two-time Pro Bowler.
One of the years he got snubbed, and that's why he had the infamous snubbed shirt that he got fined
I remember
for.
that.
Yeah. And he played for 3 seasons. I'm going to say 2 and 2 games because he basically missed all of 2021 and came back for the playoffs. Then we let him go, and he made his voice clear that he didn't like how it ended with the Packers. Went to the Vikings, went to the enemy, and that's when my distaste for Zadarius showed up. He played for the Vikings, I believe, only for that 1 season. Then played for the Browns for, a season and a half. He played for the Browns. He actually tried going back to the Ravens, was picked up, and then got dropped.
I think I remember that, yeah.
Then he went to the Browns, and then... he got scooped up middle of last season to the Lions. He was traded at the trade deadline to Detroit. That annoyed me because obviously back with another rival. And then this offseason he was in free agency, got scooped up in Week 2 by the Eagles. So that was his career. He played on 3 of the 4 NFC North teams, never went to Chicago. But he played also for the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Browns. That was Zadarius Smith's career path. The only thing I'd like to mention, I already kind of pointed out, but the Detroit Lions lost on Sunday Night Football to the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost 30-17, and that was beautiful because the Lions are a good team, but people have been saying they might be the best team in the NFL. That Week 1 loss to the Packers might have been a fluke, and last night, at least as of time of recording, they just looked
and the Chiefs get to 500, too.
Yeah, they're back 3-3, I believe.
That's insane that the Chiefs... runner-up in Super Bowl are now 3-3.
I mean,
they were struggling at the beginning of the year. They were struggling.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are not going to be a bad team as long as they have Mahomes and Reed. I still think they're not the most powerful team, but like I said last week, I don't think there's a really, really good team.
They just have a good base. Yeah. They have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, that'll I think that rounds up the NFL segment. Also, really quick, don't know if you saw this. After the game, Brian Branch...
Oh, I remember that.
So, okay,
I saw
this
that.
is how it went for the story. Patrick Mahomes went to shake Brian Branch's hand after the game. I'm a notorious Brian Branch hater. As much as I wanted us to draft him in the season that we didn't draft him, he has turned out to be an absolute expletive. But we walked past Mahomes and completely smacked the crap out of Juju Smith-Schuster.
Because Juju came to confront him about not shaking Patrick Mahomes' hand.
I don't even think it was that.
Really?
No. I don't think that's what I think. He might have been like, dude, why are you shaking his hand? And then he just smacked the crap out of him. And I know there's been some more Lions fans that have been like, well, with 3.5 minutes left in the game, Juju Smith-Schuster laid this illegal chip block on Brian Branch. And I get it. That should have been called as a penalty. But my defense to Juju, and also as much as I don't like either of these teams, it's after the game. I get it. If that happened to you during the game, if you're talking smack, fine. But the game is over. So to do this whole confrontation thing, you just seem like a moron. And sure enough, Brian Branch actually got fined by the NFL, as people suspected, but also got suspended for 1 game.
I like what Dan Campbell had to say after the game. He apologized for his actions. Because that's not what they're about. I figured Dan Campbell, Brian Branch has done some shady stuff in game. and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's finally getting punished for it, and I like to see that.
Yeah.
But Dan Campbell has no BS mentality with
No
the Lions.
BS. And I actually love this because their next game, they're playing the Buccaneers, who might be the best team in football right now. I mean,
They are kicking butt this year, dude.
hot take. Not really. Everyone's saying it right now. Baker Mayfield, give him the MVP right now.
Right
we'll
now,
see how
yes.
the rest of the season goes
Yeah.
along. He has played phenomenal football, and it just makes me happy to see Browns
I
fans
think
cry.
it would be really. I think the Browns would really shoot themselves in the foot if they end up winning the Super Bowl this year. The Buccaneers, or at least make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love Baker. Don't love the Buccaneers, and they're in a conference. But I think it is crazy that the Packers do have a better record than both the Eagles and the Lions right now. That brings a smile to my face. So not everything's all bad. That'll end off the NFL segment really quickly. College football.
I wrote that down there, yeah.
Pretty crazy weekend. Yeah, you wrote this down. You
Badgers need to move on from Luke Fickell. I didn't watch the game.
That is the
I watched the end of the
hottest
game.
take I've ever heard. Oh, he sucks.
Shut up.
Yeah, he sucks.
Lost 37-0 against rival Iowa, and let's be honest, these games aren't even rival games anymore. It's just a blowout game now for these rival teams.
Okay. I'll be fully transparent. I have had no faith in the Wisconsin Badgers since the 2022 season.
Since Braylon Allen left, right?
It was since
That was his last year, I believe. No,
that was Graham Mertz's last year. Maybe not. It was
I
the
think it
year
was
before.
Braylon Allen's last year.
I had
of
this
them
feeling
last
for
year.
a long time. You know, ever since the 2018 season, they slowly would get worse. But that 22 season, I went and saw them play Washington State, where they fumbled the ball 5 times and lost. And I was like, I don't think this program will recover. They fired their head coach that season. They replaced him with Luke Fickell, and
He
everyone was
changes the
saying,
offense to air raid.
He's changing this to an air raid offense. And I was like, why? Why? Like, I get it. We're in the era of, like, it's all about quarterbacks. But what made the Badgers so dominant throughout all their decades, especially in the 2010s, was their running game. They were so great.
And their offensive line was outstanding.
Yes,
they had a solid defense.
They were so great at recruiting that type of talent. I mean, you get James White, Jonathan Taylor, Melvin Gordon,
Monte Ball. Yeah.
Like, all these guys are
Did you say Corey Clement?
Not even Corey Clement. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, literally 5 of these guys, besides Monte Ball, like, went on to have real NFL careers.
And Braylon Allen shaving one for himself
Braylon
right
Allen.
now.
Like, come on. And then we enter the era of, like, Ches Malusi. Like, we don't have a running game like that anymore. But also, where do the old linemen go? Like, Ryan Ramczyk and, like, all these big
Joe
dudes.
Thomas.
Joe Thomas. Like, and that was around the era where I was like, guys, we're
Travis Frederick, too. Can't forget about him.
No, we're not in this era of the prime Badgers football. I don't care what kind of copium you want to smoke. And it's been reported, too. Like, the recruiting has been so rough. So them losing.
We can't compete with the big teams, though, with the NIL deals, though.
No.
We can't.
And reportedly, like, they should. The fact. Okay. You should not be spending less NIL money than Illinois.
No, you can't.
Or Indiana. Those are good programs right now, but partially they've adjusted and adapted to the modern era of college football. Do I like it? No. Does that mean you should like it? No. I don't love the NIL and how it's worked. But I'm not the one running Wisconsin football. And if those guys don't like it, fine. But they should be paying more money than these other schools in the Big Ten that should not have better program than the University of Wisconsin, than the Badgers. So I'm sorry. I knew this season was over before it started, but I really knew it in the first half of the first game against Miami, Ohio. I don't
3-0.
I do not care that your starting quarterback gets hurt right away. Obviously, like, oh my gosh, of course it happens again. That doesn't matter. He was barely competing for the job, and they should still believe in the backup. Just because your starting quarterback gets hurt, it's not like that guy was gonna, like, lead them to the promised land. I just feel like firing Fickell is the first step of many to try to get this program back to what a fraction of it was. So as negative as that sounds, I just feel like, I mean, I don't even know if we'll talk about it. Losing 37-0 to Iowa, they're facing the best team in the country this weekend. They're going against Ohio State in Madison.
I don't even watch. I recommend you don't watch that game. I
No,
don't watch it.
I'll be watching the Brewers. I'll be watching the Packers. I'll be covering UW Stevens Point taking on River Falls. That's all I've got. Obviously, NHL is back. How's your team doing? Edmonton. Do you even know?
No.
My team was 2-0. The Kraken started off 2-0 for the first time in franchise history.
This is still stuff that Alex had from last week.
Edmonton Oilers. Let's see their record. They're third in the Pacific right now. They won 3-1 against the Canucks. They lost 4-3 against the Flames.
Panthers, no surprise, top of the league, 3-0.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, that was preseason. Yeah, they've only played 2 games. They've only played the Flames and the Canucks. So they're 1-1 right now. Obviously, hockey's getting started up, but we gotta focus on the fact that the Milwaukee Brewers are in the National League Championship Series. So excited for them. Mr. Euchre, it's all for you. Thank you for everyone that has watched this week's episode. Thank you for everyone just watching at home and viewing. It's really awesome. We've had a blast so far this year. We're already about a month into the show. That's all I've got for us today. Thank you, Cole, for coming back on. Thank you to my son. Thank you for Liam Sheen and the Fishbowl for all the incredible work you do pre- and post-production. And from all of us here at SportsPoint, we'll see you next time.